Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 133 based on novel. So let's start. Sword Saint Ling Qianho's eyes lit up and he pointed at the East Sea. The four illusionary swords behind his back trembled and then shot toward the East Sea. There were four heaven-shaking rumbles as the four swords began to spin like crazy, forming a vortex at the center of the sea. The four swords were each like a never-ending vortex. They created 4 points and then suddenly tore open an uneven opening. Waves of green and red came from the entrance along with ghost-like wails. This opening looked like it led to nothing, but when one looked closer, they would see that there was more to it deep inside. The gate to the East Demon Spirit Sea is now open. Anyone that is going to enter, do so quickly. Although Sword Saint Ling Qianho only said a few words, they were filled with killing intent. After he finished speaking, the 12 swords turned into 12 rays of sharp light and charged directly toward the entrance. The 12 people all went into the entrance, and as the last one stepped in, the Sword Saint's eyes narrowed. He flicked his finger and a ray of sword energy shot out toward the last disciple. Here is a ray of sword energy from me for the 12 of you to use as your life-saving spell. At the moment Ling Qianho said this, the ray of sword energy was respectfully received by the last disciple. He bowed toward the Sword Saint and then walked inside. Greed had already disappeared from behind Ling Qianho. He had turned into that last ray of sword energy and disappeared into the gate of the East Demon Spirit Sea along with the 12 swords. The All-Seer's eyes were calm as he gave Ling Qianho a meaningful look and said, "Disciples of the Heavenly Fate sect, go inside." Along with Wang Lin, the 10 of them replied. They immediately got up and flew toward the entrance. However, Wang Lin's speed slowed down a bit, and he didn't go in first. He waited for the others to go in first and then walked inside. After the Da Lu Sword Sect and Heavenly Fate Sect disciples had entered, the disciples of the famous sects and old monsters all flew toward the entrance. Yao Shishue, who was on the Blood Jade, pondered a bit before clenching her teeth and charging toward the entrance. For half an hour, people continued to enter the gate. Among the hundreds of people that entered, there were disciples of some very famous old monsters. Half an hour later, Sword Saint Ling Qianho waved his hand and the 4 vortexes that created the opening shook. Then they stopped spinning and turned into 4 rays of sword energy and flew back to Ling Qianho, becoming 4 flashing illusionary swords once more. As the 4 swords disappeared, a large amount of green and red light leaked from the opening. In almost the blink of an eye, the opening disappeared without a trace. The surrounding cultivators had almost all scattered, and even those that hadn't left yet slowly scattered as well. Soon, there was only a handful of cultivators left outside the East Demon Spirit Sea. All of these cultivators were famous old monsters, and they all had high cultivation levels. They all knew each other, and the only reason they hadn't left was due to the item inside that last ray of red light. This matter involved the big secret of planet Qianyun. Everyone here was silent and no one spoke. Sword Saint Ling Qianho's eyes narrowed as he stared at the All-Seer and shouted, "All-Seer, the item in that last ray of red light was a token." The All-Seer's eyes were calm as he looked at the Sword Saint and then at the surrounding old friends, then he faintly smiled and said, "That is correct. It is a token, and it is the 3rd one. I didn't think that this opening of the East Demon Spirit Sea would have brought the token we all have been waiting for. Now that the token is inside the East Demon Spirit Sea, we don't have to worry. The East Demon Spirit Sea opens once every 5,000 years, and the disciples test themselves inside for 500 years. As a result, we will meet here again in 200 years and then we will go in there again. I believe everyone has heard about what happened before, so I hope everyone is well prepared. I think 200 years is enough time for everyone to be fully prepared." After the All-Seer finished speaking, he clasped his hands at everyone before waving his sleeves and taking a step into the void. His body slowly disappeared into the void. Sword Saint Ling Qianho let out a snort as he turned around to give the East Demon Spirit Sea a meaningful look before stepping onto a ray of sword energy and disappearing. After the 2 of them, the remaining famous old monsters all had various thoughts as they formed groups of 3 to 5 and left. The area of outside the East Demon Spirit Sea now returned to the peaceful state it was in before. The sea of floating stuff slowly moved and gave off a mysterious aura. Red and green continued to flash within the sea. Sword Saint Ling Qianhu turned into a ray of sword energy as he charged through the void. The location of the Da Lu sword sect was not on planet Qianyun nor one of the 5 planets orbiting it, but on a large planet that was dragged here by Ling Qianhu. Although this planet couldn't beat Qianyun, it was much larger than the 5 planets orbiting Qianyun. This planet also had dense spiritual energy and was very suitable for cultivators. The Da Lu sword sect was established here by him. This planet was named Da Lu by Ling Qianhu. Ling Qianhu moved extremely fast as he broke through the planet's atmosphere. He went directly to his closed-door cultivation location at the eastern part of the planet. I must use these 200 years of time to refine the celestial sword. I'll fuse 9 demonic beast spirits into one to refine this celestial sword into a demonic sword. At that time, my chance of obtaining the token will increase by 1-fold. Sword Saint Ling Qianhu's eyes lit up and he disappeared into his personal building. As for the All-Seer, when he returned to planet Qianyun, he immediately went into the 7-colored tower on top of the 3 mountains. He sat inside the tower and had several black beast bones around him. These beast bones were extremely smooth and shiny, they also gave off an evil aura. My disciple Wang Lin is a person of great fortune. I just don't know how much fortune he has left. The All-Seer's expression was normal as his right reached out and all the beast bones flew into his grasp, then scattered them all on the ground. The All-Seer's eyes lit up. He carefully looked at the bones and gradually revealed a faint smile. The inside of the gate to the East Demon Spirit Sea was in complete chaos. It can be said that this place was its own realm. Perhaps there were people here who knew how big this place was, but Wang Lin was clearly not one of them. After he stepped through the gate, he felt like he had walked through water and entered the depths of an ocean. Before him was a vast wasteland. This place had a sky, ground, and even sea, but this wasn't a cultivation planet. There was no one around Wang Lin's current location, the only thing around him was an endless wasteland. The other 9 people of the Heavenly Fate sect were all split apart when they entered the gate. Right now he had no idea where they were. This East Demon Spirit Sea is completely different from anywhere else I have been before. This place is more like the mortal world rather than some place with lot of treasures hidden. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he spread out his divine sense and flew into the sky. I guess the other people that entered were forcibly separated by the gate like me and will survive in the East Demon Spirit Sea by themselves. Sun Yunshan once said that the trip to the East Demon Spirit Sea lasts for 500 years. That means I'll have to stay here for 500 years. Wang Lin remained calm as he continued to fly and ponder. 500 years of time for mortals is several generations, but for cultivators, it is just the flick of a finger. However, in these 500 years, I have a lot of things to do. I must reach the major completion of the Celestial Slaughter Art. This is priority number 1. Also, even if Tuo Sen breaks free, he would never be able to guess that I'm here, so that gives me an extra 500 years. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he revealed a faint smile. Earlier, he heard from Sun Yunshan that once one enters the East Demon Spirit Sea, they must stay inside for 500 years. After hearing that, he decided that he absolutely had to enter the East Demon Spirit Sea. It has to be said that the person Wang Lin dreaded the most was Tuo Sen from the land of the ancient god. Once that person breaks free, the first thing Tuo Sen will do is find Wang Lin. It was simply too difficult for Wang Lin to fight Tuo Sen with his current cultivation. This was also why Wang Lin was cultivating the Celestial Slaughter Art like crazy to turn life force into life seals. He knew that he couldn't beat Tuo Sen, so he wanted to learn a life-saving spell. Only after the Celestial Slaughter Art reaches major completion and he forms a large amount of life seals can he resist Tuo Senator. This was the number 1 goal. I wonder what cultivation level I can reach in 500 years. Wang Lin's eyes released a strange light as he secretly pondered. There is also the matter with Senior Ju Yi. This is another reason why I came here. With Senior Ju Yi's domain in the pagoda, it shouldn't be hard to find where the Sword Saint sealed Senior Ju Yi. If I can save Senior Ju Yi, then with his help and the Celestial Swords, I will have a very powerful attack in a short period of time. In addition, there's the large sword I saw outside the East Demon Spirit Sea. The sword I saw was almost identical to the wealth from back then. The light in Wang Lin's eyes intensified. Wealth has the spell to control the celestial sword inside. If that really is wealth, then if I can find it and learn the control technique inside it, the power of the celestial sword will at least increase several fold. However, none of those can compare to the token I saw. What exactly is that token to cause people like the Allseers and Ling Qianho's expressions to change? Planet Qianyun has too many secrets, and I can't even begin to guess them without any knowledge. Wang Lin let out a sigh and remained silent. Forget it. I can only take these things one step at a time, they can't be rushed. Now that the original body is well hidden on that desolate planet, it won't be showing itself. Also, back in the Suzaku tomb, Tuo Sen only locked onto me and doesn't know about my original body yet. I'll need to spend the next 500 years making it stronger to prepare for the future. Wang Lin cleared his mind. As he was thinking, he had unknowingly flown countless kilometers. He spread out his divine sense and still found nothing. This wasteland was too quiet. Inside Wang Lin's divine sense range, other than himself, there was no life at all. Wang Lin's expression remained normal as he continued to fly. Time slowly passed. 10 days later, while Wang Lin was flying, his expression suddenly changed and he turned to look into the distance with eyes like lightning. He took one step and his entire body moved like a meteor with speed several times faster than before toward that direction. There was a thick forest outside of the wasteland. At this moment, there was a person lying on the ground in the forest. This person had no clothes covering the upper part of his body, and that uncovered part was smeared with some green liquid. He lied there completely motionless, even his breathing was so weak that it seemed to stop at times. Soon, he was so still that he seemed to have disappeared altogether. It was almost impossible for a normal person to even notice him. It didn't take long before the sound of running came from the forest. Soon, a beast the size of a calf with a fierce mouth charged out. This wild beast was kind of like a wild pig, but it contained a fierceness that showed off dangerous it was. There was not a sliver of spiritual energy inside this beast. The beast let out a roar as it jumped out from the forest. However, at the moment it charged out, the person lying on the ground suddenly jumped out as well, and he somehow had a black spear in his hand now. This person was very quick. At almost the exact moment the wild beast charged out, the spear was already stabbing toward it. The beast didn't expect anyone to be there, but instead of being startled, it was angry and charged toward the spear. With a series of crackling sounds, the spear shattered. The man with green liquid smeared on his body twisted his body mid-air and grabbed the blade at the tip of the spear. Without any hesitation, he mounted on the back of the beast. Then he grabbed the beast's fur and stabbed directly into the beast's neck. The beast felt sharp pain, then it let out a miserable roar and began to struggle. It began to charge randomly while carrying the person on its back. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the air. He stared at the person and beast below him with a mysterious gaze. This person and beast were the first living things he had come across in 10 days. The beast's eyes were bloodshot and it was letting out a series of roars, but the person on its back still had a calm gaze. His left hand was holding onto the beast's fur firmly and he stuck close to the beast's body to maintain his balance to stay on the beast's back. His right hand held the knife as firmly as a mountain to make sure it stayed in the beast's neck. Shortly after, the beast's eyes slowly dimmed and the blood coming out from its neck was no longer red but gave off a ghostly light. Finally, the beast fell to the ground and stopped moving. The person on the beast let out a breath of relief and pulled out the knife. However, his expression suddenly changed as he turned around and looked at the sky behind him with a confused gaze. Wang Lin frowned as he looked at the person. He was very shocked that although this person had no spiritual energy inside him, he had amazing enough spirit to be able to almost notice that someone was around. With a thought, Wang Lin slowly appeared in the air as he stared at the person with a cold gaze. The person smeared with green liquid was shocked when he suddenly saw Wang Lin appear, and his eyes revealed a mysterious light. A second later, he jumped before the beast and held the knife up. He looked at Wang Lin and said, with a raspy voice, "Beast is mine." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he said, "I'm not here to steal from you." That person stared at Wang Lin for a bit and nodded shortly after. He then slowly knelt down, grabbed the beast with some difficulty, and dragged it into the forest. As he dragged the beast, he stared at Wang Lin with his guard up. Wang Lin didn't move even after this person had moved far away. In Wang Lin's eyes, this person was very interesting. The person who was smeared in green liquid dragged the beast really far away. When he saw that Wang Lin wasn't following, he let out a sigh of relief and continued to drag the beast by its fur. He wandered around all day, and it wasn't until the sun was about to set that he dragged the beast into a hidden valley. At the moment he entered the valley, a faint ripple appeared. However, this ripple was very faint and quickly disappeared, so it was not easy to spot. At the moment he entered the valley, Wang Lin's body stepped out from the void. His eyes lit up and revealed a mysterious light as he looked around. Someone spent a lot of effort to place a giant formation here. It can hide the presence of all living things, so unless one is close, it is almost impossible to notice the existence of this place. Looking at the markings of the formation, it has already been here for countless years. The way the formation is placed down is different from the methods of the Cultivation Alliance, so this should have been placed down by ancient cultivators. Wang Lin's eyes were like torches. He wasn't in a rush to enter the valley, so he checked the valley from the outside before coming to this conclusion. This place is interesting. This East Demon Spirit Sea is clearly different from all the other places I have been to hunt treasure. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light as he looked at the valley protected by the formation. After observing for a while, he pointed at the air. A ray of spiritual energy quickly flew out from his finger and into the valley. However, at the moment the ray of spiritual energy entered the valley, the formation surrounding the valley began to rumble. A green gas came out from the formation and quickly devoured the spiritual energy Wang Lin had shot out. Shortly after, a lot of noise suddenly came from inside the valley. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He took a few steps back and then his body disappeared. Flashes of bright light came from within the valley, and 3 people walked out. These 3 people were all topless and had green liquid smeared over their bodies. They were holding rusty weapons in their hands, and after they walked out of the valley, they were all very cautious. Shortly after, the 3 of them revealed looks of confusion. They looked at each other before walking back into the valley. At the moment they disappeared into the valley, Wang Lin's body turned into green smoke and quickly followed them. However, when he touched the formation, it activated again and emitted a green light. A powerful sense of crisis surrounded the area. Wang Lin frowned and took a few steps back. After he backed off, the green light disappeared from the formation. Interesting. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. The purpose of the formation was to protect everything inside the valley and not allow anyone else inside. Once someone tries to break in, the formation will activate all its power to kill the invader. This formation was very ingenious. After studying it for a while, Wang Lin knew that he couldn't break it in a short period of time. His gaze darkened as he sat down in the lotus position outside the formation without saying a word. Shortly after he revealed himself, he caught the attention of the people inside the valley. There were flashes of light and then 4 people walked out. Among the 4 people, 3 of them were the 3 from before, and the 4th person was filled with killing intent. He was holding a black pole arm that gave off a ghostly glow. At the moment he walked out, without saying a word, he threw the pole arm at Wang Lin. Then he let out a cruel smile and charged toward Wang Lin. The 3 people behind him also let out roars and charged toward Wang Lin with their rusty weapons. Wang Lin's eyes were calm. With one gaze, the pole arm flying at him immediately collapsed. The person with the cruel smile was startled. He stared at the broken pole arm with his mouth wide open, unable to say a word. The 3 people behind him also stopped. Wang Lin didn't waste time with them and reached out with his right hand. They immediately screamed, as a mysterious force had caught all 4 of them. Wang Lin threw them to the side and trapped them so they couldn't move. Normally, Wang Lin wouldn't lower himself to deal with people without any spiritual energy in their bodies, but this place was simply too strange. A mere valley like his had this kind of ancient formation protecting it. all he could do was find clues from the people living inside. After he easily captured the 4 of them, Wang Lin's expression remained normal and he continued to cultivate. It wasn't long before an uproar could be heard from within the valley. There were more flashes of light from within the valley, and this time, 2 people walked out. The 2 of them didn't have green liquid smeared on their bodies, but they emanated a mysterious aura. At the moment they walked out of the valley, they bit the tips of their tongues and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. This blood wasn't spat toward Wang Lin but on the ground outside the valley. After doing this, they began running back into the valley. Wang Lin was calm as he casually captured the 2 and threw them to the side. Then he looked at the ground covered by their blood and saw a blood mist slowly appear. At first it was faint, but it soon became very thick and quickly covered the area outside the valley. Wang Lin was still sitting there in the lotus position as he calmly looked at the valley without using any spells. When that blood mist reached its peak, a roar came from inside the valley. A black figure walked out from the valley and into the blood mist. This figure gave off a strange feeling. Return my tribe members and fuck off from my tribe's territory. Otherwise, die. A cold voice came from the black figure inside the blood mist. Wang Lin's expression was normal as he let out cold snort. He stood up and took a step forward. With this one step, countless ripples appeared around him. The ripples vibrated violently as they spread, and Wang Lin rushed forward. With one step, the ripples charged forward like crazy and the blood mist began to sizzle like hot water was poured on ice. Then the blood mist began to dissipate at an extremely quick rate. This entire sequence didn't even last more than 3 breaths of time. After 3 breaths of time, the blood mist was completely gone. The only thing remaining was someone wearing a black robe staring at Wang Lin with shock as Wang Lin walked in closer. He was about to retreat when Wang Lin reached out and his body floated forward against his wool and landed before Wang Lin. Wang Lin coldly looked at this person and waved his right hand. He threw this person to the side and trapped him along with the other 6. After doing all this, Wang Lin examined the formation a bit before sitting back down and beginning to silently ponder. The thunderous roar caused everyone inside the valley to become silent. This silence lasted for 3 days. For 3 days, Wang Lin sat there motionlessly, and the inside of the valley didn't emit any sound. On the morning of the 4th day, the formation around the valley began to rumble and an old man with a black cane slowly walked out from the valley. Behind him followed more than 10 topless people. Although they all looked very skinny and sickly, their eyes were filled with intelligence. The white-haired old man's body seemed extremely weak. He walked out of the valley and softly said, "Foreign cultivator, you have already been here for several days. We were reckless earlier and I hope you will forgive us. This old man is named Ouyang Hua, and I am the elder of this valley. How about you return my tribe members and I'll have a long talk with you? From as far back as this old man can remember, I was already living here. I have no idea how long it has been since then." Ouyang Hua was sitting outside the valley. Before him was a table and with some fruits. Wang Lin was sitting in the lotus position on the opposite side of this old man, his expression calm. The several trapped people had already been released and they had returned to the valley. Ouyang Hua's voice was bland as he said, "This old man doesn't know exactly how big this place is, but I know that there is an extremely large city 15 million kilometers from here. That place is the ancient demon city. This old man began learning there, and that's where I gained my long life. Foreign cultivator, I don't know what you want, but it is definitely not something my small tribe can provide you." Wang Lin's gaze was calm as he slowly said, "Do you know where I came from? When you appeared outside the valley, I knew you weren't someone from this land. It should be said that you and your companions come once every 5,000 years, and every time you guys come, you bring along endless bloodshed. That is why I did not welcome your arrival." Ouyang Hua softly sighed. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he asked, "Do you have news of other foreigners?" Ouyang Hua decisively said, "None right now, and I hope that there will be none in the future. Foreigner, there is nothing you need here. I have said what I needed to say, so you should leave. You can go to that ancient demon city, you'll find something there." Wang Lin calmly asked, "What is the thing you keep saying I need? What exactly is it?" Ouyang Hua's face sank as he stood up, looked at Wang Lin, and said, "Foreigner, I have said all I need to say. Although you have some ability, if it wasn't for me not wanting to get into a fight with you, I would have definitely not let you go for capturing my tribe members. Foreigner, don't be mistaken. If you are not gone within 3 breaths of time, don't blame me for being ruthless." Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he stared at the elder. He waved his palm in the air and a green light gathered in his hand. This green light shined violently, and with the point of his finger, it flew toward the valley. The formation around the valley activated on its own, and as the green light arrived, there was a loud rumble. Wang Lin coldly snorted as he slapped his bag of holding and the restriction flag appeared. He waved flag and the 999 restrictions flew out and covered the area with black fog. Wang Lin's figure inside the black fog made him look like a demon general. His cold eyes gave off an endless amount of pressure. "Break the formation." Wang Lin's voice seemed to travel throughout all of the desolate area. With one word, the surrounding restriction gas charged out and continued to attack the formation outside the valley. Ouyang Hua's expression changed greatly and became extremely gloomy as he looked at Wang Lin. He sneered, then his body flashed and unbelievably collapsed into specks of light. Wang Lin's eyes were cold. He had already noticed that the Ouyang Hua before him wasn't a real body and was only an illusionary body. If it wasn't for the fact that he had studied the formation for several days and had gained enough understanding to be able to almost break it, there was no way he would have returned those tribe members so easily. His right hand formed a seal as he pointed at the formation and softly said, "Explode." A series of rumblings echoed across the entire valley. The formation began to tremble violently like there were dragons raging within it and began to release a bright, green glow. At the same time, Ouyang Hua's ancient voice came from within the valley. "Foreigner, this old man gives you 3 breaths of time to leave. If you don't, I'm going to activate the attack formation. At that time, you will surely die." Wang Lin spat out the word, "Gather." With one word, the surrounding restriction gas immediately began to move and explode, creating a powerful shockwave that hit the formation. The formation shook violently once more. Ouyang Hua's voice was suddenly cut off and he let out an angry roar. The entire valley suddenly released a bright flash of green light. In the blink of an eye, this green light became extremely dense. Green ripples began to appear from the cliffs, ground, and grass around the valley. The instant these ripples appeared, they were drawn by the mysterious force produced by the green light inside the valley. At this moment, the green light in the valley began to move in a mysterious way. It began to drift apart like green flames, and in an instant, it formed a giant, green illusion. This illusion was human-shaped but was tens of feet tall. Only its figure could be seen and not the exact features. The figure was filled with green light. The moment the illusion appeared, Ouyang Hua's voice immediately came from within the valley. "Foreigner, you brought all of this upon yourself. Green illusion, kill him and bring his soul as the sacrifice for today's demonic night." With that, an inhuman roar came from the illusion. This roar wasn't loud, but it caused the sky to change colors and the ground to immediately shake. Although it was only for an instant, it caused Wang Lin's eyes to narrow. He revealed a sneer as his right hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Restriction Lance." Wang Lin's right hand reached out and strands of black restriction fog moved around like dragons. If one looked up, they would see the black restriction fog covering the entire sky. With the howling that came from within the fog, it seemed like the demonic army from hell was about to descend. The surrounding black gas released an ear-piercing howl as it quickly gathered on Wang Lin's arm. Finally, a lance 30 feet long and as thick as his arm appeared in his hand. There was black lightning moving around the lance and there was thunder coming from inside it, making it even more fearsome. There was a ghostly light on the tip of the lance. Under the sun at noon, it was extra eye-catching. At almost the same moment Ouyang Hua finished speaking, Wang Lin threw the lance and it shot out like a ray of black lightning toward the green illusion. The lightning broke through the sky like a gulf in the underworld and broke through space as if it was God's will. It was so powerful that it could damage the heavens and shatter the earth. As it broke through space, it even attracted the thunder from the high heavens, creating a series thunderous booms that rumbled across the area. This video will end here.